How was your focus? That was our topic this week within the Thumos community. We only had one meeting. That was on Tuesday. Thursday was canceled by design and preps for our wonderful weekend, which starts this evening. I'm super excited. Biggest weekend we've ever had. And it's going to be fantastic. Anyway, the topic was focus, and our buddy Charlie led us through. He basically did a almost like a book summary for us, but it was not just a summary where he, talked about what he read and learned and how it applied to him. He did all that, but it was more of a conversation like it always is, where men are sharing with each other their insights, their weaknesses, perhaps, and of course, especially the tactics and strategies to deal with it. So I want to share my screen with you. Hopefully this works. And kind of go over sort of these 4 categories that we discussed during the call and kind of the tactics and strategies that we got out of it. So the book was Limitless. The author is a guy called Jim Kwik. And I didn't read the book, but Charlie did. And he said it was a fantastic book. So in this book, if you can see the screen, he talks about, when it comes to focus, of course, we're in this digital age. This is a real problem for pretty much all of us, if not all of us. And so the first that Jim talks about is this concept of digital deluge. There is a lot of information coming out of us today. In fact, according to Jim, we now consume as much data in a single day as the average person in a lifetime absorbed. This is in the 1400s. That's a lot of information. Tactic. Turn it off. Filter what comes into the house, for example. Fox News has not entered my house in 15 years. The local news has not entered my house in 15 or 20 years. CNN, never, ever. I get to choose. It doesn't choose me, right? So I'm not just going to let things pump into the house. I'm going to choose what news I tend to go get. I go see it. I get out of it. I don't spend a whole lot of time there. It's depressing. It can make me angry, bring me below the line. So the recommendation there is filter what comes into your house and especially to your head, right? Not just your head, your family's head, your mind, their mind, etc. So digital deluge, digital distraction. We're always connected. You guys know this. These cell phones, ding, ding, ding. Every time, evidently, dopamine goes off and we hear the ding, we get a like, etc. Dopamine needs to be balanced out. What about oxytocin? What about serotonin? These are love and feel-good hormones. They need to be balanced out with dopamine and cortisol, the stress hormone. So what if we took a day off or a half day off or some time off every day where we turn this off, we set it aside? What if we only checked it a couple of times a day, including email? We're still checking. We're still there. We're still available for people. We want to be good friends, be in contact, et cetera, be connected. But what if we purpose that in? What if we set it down from time to time and we get away and we get out into nature? So, I had an aha probably a year and a half ago, and essentially it was where technology can be toxic, nature's the medicine. And I truly believe that. So think about that. Digital dementia, basically the concept here is our brains used to, not always, but for the most part, used to work harder, and we used to exercise those brains more. How about you, friends? Do you remember the address in the house that you grew up in, if you stayed there any length of time? I do. And that was 40 plus years ago. But I can't tell you my son Sam's cell phone number. Finally got him a cell phone. Can't tell you that. I never learned it. So are there things that we can do to purposely exercise our brains? Is it Rubik's Cube? Is it chess? Is it something else? Is it, critical thinking, problem solving? So purposely, look, Google's always going to be there, or whatever the search engine is. That's easy. It's a no-brainer. We used to filter through the library for hours. But what can we do to purposely exercise our critical thinking, our problem solving, exercise this muscle called the brain? And then sort of digital deduction, which is the concept of the group think, everyone's doing it. Everyone on Facebook thinks this way. It's not the way I think. I'm in the small group. I'm different. Not necessarily. Oftentimes, if it's groupthink, or in my experience, if it's coming from the government, like and I'm not anti-government, but like the food pyramid that I grew up with in the 80s, the base of the pyramid, the majority of servings was pasta, bread, cereal, rice, grains. Really? Really? How'd that work out for us? How's that type 2 diabetes? Nah. So there's been times where I use, using my own thought process, critical thinking, and experience and my own self-education, whatever the food pyramid is or whatever the government tells me to do, I do exactly the opposite. And my health was really good. So we talked about that sort of, just not falling into the group think, connecting and consulting with like-minded folks, self-study, self-inquiry, et cetera, et cetera. So those are some of the things that we discussed, the tactics, the strategy. How are you doing around focus? How are you doing around the digital categories that we talked about, whether it's deduction, dimension, distraction, or deluge? Are you willing to turn this thing off and get a break? Please share your thoughts, comments, insights. What did I miss? I know you've got some nuggets. Please share them with us in the comments. Have a great day.